During storm season, a chaser will go after about anything that'll satisfy the need to see some rising, spinning air, like this dust devil, a pretty common phenomena that happens out in the southwest or pretty much anywhere that gets enough sun and has enough dust to be lofted up. And when it happens, it creates this beautiful vortex, reminiscent of some of nature's most impressive phenomenon. While spring is thought of as the main big time severe season in the United States, summer, especially on the high plains, is not to be forgotten about. On the very start of meteorological summer itself, June 1st, I found my way down to a pretty classic part of Texas that just happens to spit out a lot of tornadic supercells on a fairly regular basis. And this day was a treat for me as being my first time to head straight over to the Fort Stockton area with this amazing, powerfully erupting early summertime supercell. As you watch this part, just remember, not all tornadoes are photogenic. Some, in fact, become heavily rain-wrapped. After an intense and beautiful, yet somewhat brief intercept, I diverged from the storm and headed back northwest. A couple days later, I ended up in the panhandle of Texas, chasing a brief week setup that was nonetheless photogenic and gave me the opportunity to hang out with Daniel Shaw. After this photo op, I ended up going to Colorado on June 8th. Kind of looks like it right there. Looks like it's producing right there. After seeing the tail end of a brief tornado, I cut back west and headed towards my Colorado hometown, which ended up being the location of another brief chase the very next day. The closest that I had ever chased to the home that I spent over a decade at. After vehicle issues sidelined me for almost 2 weeks, I was finally able to get on I-25 and race to the north for my first ever Wyoming tornado chase. And man, it was a photogenic one from the start. Watching the storm pass nearby as I passed through Chugwater and seeing it crawl along the beautiful geological formations of the area was probably top 10 photogenic setups of this year for me. At this very literal fork in the road, I made a critically dumb choice, which took me right along the path where the sturdy hail core had just dropped several inches of hail snow on the interstate. But I gave pursuit, giving the best shot that I could at seeing whatever the storm had to offer. Chasing from behind on rugged terrain, on a storm that seemed to be moving faster and faster and blocked by rear flank, rain, and hail curtains, kept me from seeing a photogenic beauty of a tornado near Hawk Springs. However, at this moment, I was able to see the beginning of the outer edge of an EF1 tornado as I crossed over into Nebraska. Until rear flank precipitation blocked my view again. After learning that a small landspout tornado had passed by near my best friend's town in northern Colorado, I felt a little bit dejected with the added fact that I missed the Hawk Springs tornado. But these Colorado setups were not done, and back here on June 21st, exactly 1 year after the Akron setup last year that I botched, here I was, and I actually ended up in some of the same roads that I did on that exact same day a year ago. On that day, dying supercells, as well as the local wildlife, were the highlights. This little dude just decided to post up and hang out for a few shots while I had my telephoto lens out, trained on that dying supercell off in the distance. Now this wasn't it for Colorado in June, as on the 30th, I ended up back in the eastern corridor on the plains for an outflow dominant but surprisingly photogenic setup that gave me some of my best shots of this year. On this chase, the approaching sunset not only marked the end of the day, but it also marked the end of the first month of this amazing chasing summer. But there was more to come. Yet again, I was able to chase on the first of the month. This time, July 1st gave us a 5% tornado risk over in south central Nebraska. this being only the second time I would ever chase in the state, and a setup that overall seemed like it came out of mid-May, with almost everybody in the chasing world seemingly on this day to see whatever Nebraska had to bring. On a day where the local residents were fortunately spared, this skinny tube that I captured was quite a lucky one to see, as it lasted a short time and was one of just a very small handful of tornadoes that the NWS confirmed that day. After appreciating the scenery in the sky, as I drove back towards the Kansas-Colorado border, I saw numerous fireflies that you may or may not be able to catch an eye of on these time lapses. But it was the first time I had seen fireflies in a long time, so I just let the camera roll as I enjoyed the serenity following such a chaotic day. I should have known the moment that I saw this guy, this chase was going to be a strangely memorable one. After so much luck and care, I finally got a hailstone crack on the windshield. But otherwise, that was such a fun chase that as soon as I went back to almost the exact same area just a few days later, I did not mind the fact that I might risk another big hailstone, because the photogenic nature of these Colorado storms was just too good to pass up. Several days later, up in northeastern Colorado on some marginal madness, I just had the taste to go out and see a few more storms, even if they didn't have much tornadic potential. In late July, it started to become clear that Colorado was either going to make it or break it at some point this year, because with all the photogenic storms that I was catching, one thing was missing from most of them: those ever deceptive, coveted things that storm chasers go after, called tornadoes. It was just this time of year, I guess I had to experience all the beauty that storm chasing entails. Like this just absolutely gorgeous storm that I saw near Deer Trail on a marginal madness day. The dog days of summer, and July specifically, took me on this day to far northeastern Colorado, almost back into Nebraska, for a mostly outflow dominant storm that still at times was pretty photogenic as per usual for Colorado. Now, just like any classic three-part story, the structure of this one, of summer chasing in 2024, would no surprise culminate with the best month, the most prolific month of my year as far as chasing goes, starting on August 1st, going here into August 2nd with the preamble chases that would give me some beauty and a little bit of a reprieve from the more adrenaline spiking, intense chases that would be coming in just a few days. Like any usual epic story, here comes the big third act, climactic, beautiful, intense, crazy, and memorable experience. This August 7th I didn't even plan to chase, but seeing the severe watch being issued and it not being too far of a drive, the potential was too good to pass up. This chase signaled that the peak of Colorado's severe season had just arrived, and the ride was about to get crazy. Among the top 5 most memorable chase days that I had over the 3 months of meteorological summer, this one on August 11th is a strong contender atop that list.
Oh yeah, look at that. I think this over here is our principal area of interest. That over there to our south looks more like gust fronts. Haven't checked radar in a bit. I gotta get a look on it. I get an idea that something is developing. It's a monster. We're gonna have to cut down a little bit south. Try to outpace it.
One stupid thing that I did on this day, which complicated my chase experience, was underestimate the storm motion. I lovingly refer to this supercell as the Front Range Flyer, the fastest supercell I've ever chased in Colorado.
And I think if it's gonna make a tornado, it's gonna do it within the next few minutes. Yeah, we gotta cut south. Safe right here.
Although no tornado was confirmed for this moment, based off of others' vantage points and my photos right here, as well as just what it looked like to the eye in the moment, I'm willing to say that there was a tornado buried in the rain on this monster of a supercell.
This thing finally caught a tornado warning. It's like we like we have a tornado ongoing in this mass. Could just be continuous tornado maintenance. That looks like a tornado to me, but maybe not. Looks like one. Got other people up here posted.
At this moment, I came entirely too close to what was very likely a rain-wrapped tornado.
We got strong winds blasting through here. RFD winds. We should be trailing right behind it.
After that moment, I decided to let the storm pass as I got to Goodland and just take in the sheer beauty of a hail-loaded RFD. I also got to see a little partner storm that came along beside it. After taking note of flash flooding and any potential hail damage in town, I was gifted to the sight of a backshear region to the giant storm that had caked my whole truck in dirt and served as the first half of a beautiful two-part day, where the second half was this amazing aurora viewing experience. After such a crazy August 11th, I somehow forgot that in the days prior, I had been watching August 12th as the day that I was expecting was going to go even bigger. And with some quick thinking and just keeping an eye on the radar, I was able to get out for a storm that very few other people were on.
Batteries on my camera are dead.
On August 13th, my first time ever taking on a fourth consecutive day of chasing transpired with a 2% yet again in eastern Colorado, as I watched the linear complex blot out the sun as it moved east over the rolling hills. I got ready for more High Plains beauty. Driving to where I expected a QLCS circulation could possibly develop, I saw what I believe may have been a QLCS tornado. A brief one, and not a very spectacular one, but I was there nonetheless to take in the beauty that the High Plains were yet again throwing at me, even after that circulation dissipated. Back at it again on August 19th, I took aim at a very low end, but still technically there tornado risk. A landspout risk, but landspouts are tornadoes. And this storm right here decided to go ahead and give me one of my first photogenic landspouts in years, though I just wish I had been a little bit closer. At it again on August 21st, I went up far northeast into Colorado where I had been almost exactly 1 month earlier. And just like last time, I got sight of some linear storms, but in some beautiful scenery that I was more ready to appreciate this time. And like I had seen so many times this summer, this was really the preamble to a much more spectacular show that would happen the very next day. For me and my meteorological chase summer of 2024, August 22nd was the grand, memorable, fantastic finale. Yes, in case you're wondering, that is in fact a tornadic supercell in front of the Welcome to Colorful Colorado sign. weak tornadoes came from that supercell, which was very lucky considering its location. Followed by it, those fantastic and oh so photogenic outflow dominant storms that rolled through across the Kansas Colorado border just completed what itself was the perfect completion to the chasing summer that I had in 2024 between Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska, Wyoming, and even Texas on a couple of those chases. The high plains gifted me such a great, unforgettable time in the months June, July, and August, the meteorological summer. Thanks everybody for watching.